You all didn't know about this story that happened in Nigeria, but I'll gist you of it. It all started as a usual day in a compound of several occupants of over 24 neighbors, spread in different apartments. The compound compresses one room, self-corn, one-bedroom flat to three-bedroom apartment. And some classes related to classes, but yet everyone acted like good neighbors when they saw their neighbors. But one day, Mama Onome had had enough of Bisi's trouble in the compound, and went downstairs to confront her for throwing away her bucket from the queue. Miss Bisi came out from her room and challenged her, accusing her of intimidating them because they lived in the flat. "What gives you the effrontery to kick my bucket out of the queue? Your trouble in this compound is too much. Listen to me, Mama Onome. You are lucky you didn't meet that dirty bucket of yours in cracks, and if you dare to put it again in the queue, I will not hesitate to kick it this time and earn a batch as a Mercy's trainee. Look how your eyes open as a mad woman. Just for your neighbor to fetch water downstairs because our tank is no longer supplying water, you used that time to express how much of a bitter person you are." "Yes. Oh, leave it like that. We don't live in a flat, but yet we manage our water. We even have drums where we put our water to save, but you guys don't, because it is too flat to one tank. Now, the power supply failed. You quickly run downstairs hoping to intimidate those who live in one room, self-corn. I beg madam shift. You are such a brainless and heartless person. Why do you have such hate in your eyes if you are not a witch? A wicked one at that. It is with this your witchcraft you killed your husband, and ate your children one by one. Tufiakba, please eat the water," Mama Onome said without looking at the now pained Miss Bisi. She grabbed her bucket and ran upstairs. Miss Bisi's legs failed her as she tried to hold the walls behind her. The neighbors rushed to her side trying to hold her, but she refused their touch, for they fled just by the mean stare she gave to them. She rushed inside and locked the door to herself. 3 days later, the news had spread to the other neighbors who heard the dispute. They observed that Miss Bisi, who was in her late 40s, was still stuck inside. They called on her and she refused answering. It was when they announced they were worried and would break the door if she didn't respond, before she responded by asking them to leave her door and avoid her. Then they realized she had been crying. She had not come out for over 3 days. Whatever Mama Onome said to her must have really sent her into depression. The neighbors gathered that evening when Mama Onome's husband just returned from his trip. They knocked and apologized for not waiting for Mr. Mark to relax from his rest. They apologized and termed the excuse for their inconsideration as because it was a matter of life and death. So Mr. Mark allowed them in, and his wife also sat down. They now revealed the situation of Miss Bisi and pleaded with Mama Onome to apologize to Miss Bisi. After hearing how she had been indoors, she confessed to her neighbors that she didn't even know that she had been married before or lost children. She just wanted to say hurtful words. The neighbors reminded her of the dangers of not controlling our anger, as people can die from words we alter. Later, after everybody had ended with eating Mama Onome's food, they all sat down and apologized to Miss Bisi. Miss Bisi didn't open the door until she heard that Mama Onome was on her knees. She apologized and sought that Miss Bisi can forgive her for being vulgar with her words, and until then did she come out. After several hours she finally came out and Mama Onome apologized again and hugged her. They both laughed and peace was restored. Mama Onome and Miss Bisi became very close. They soon started entering each other's flat laughing and chatting. Mama Onome was left with just her last-born Pero, who is a boy of 4 years. Her daughter Buma was in boarding school and her twins, Ejiro and Onome, were in the university. Her husband was a police officer and most times he could be on site for over 3 days. So Mama Onome had all the time in the world. They will gist about everything, and Mama Onome will always talk about her kids and husband, which seemed to turn Miss Bisi off sometimes, but their friendship got stronger. One day, Mama Onome came out to sweep her stairs when she noticed a black egg was smashed on her entrance. She screamed, and the neighbors came out to know what had happened. They saw the egg and said it was a bad omen, but Mama Onome just swept it off. She then went downstairs to tell her friend what she had seen, and asked if she didn't hear screaming after seeing the egg. Miss Bisi apologized, giving the excuse that she had been sick since the previous day and had gone to the clinic to do some checkups. Mama Onome even went up to bring fruit to Miss Bisi. She was so grateful and thanked her as she collected the fruit and kept them. She tried to dance after receiving the fruit, but complained about how her joints failed her. The next morning, Mama Onome woke up and found her husband still sleeping. She wondered if today he took a rest from work. She didn't want to wake him, but when she saw the way he held his phone and one of his legs were out of the bed, she tapped him to at least sleep properly. But her husband's body doesn't seem to move. She shocked him, and yet there was no response. She scoffs and shocks him properly, but to no avail. Since she was an auxiliary nurse, she checked for pulse and found out there was no pulse. She panicked and resumed crying. She cried and was gathered by her neighbors. Her friend managed to come up this time, and as soon as she saw what had happened, she began crying for her friend-turned-sister. She reassured her that she needed to be strong for her kids and prepare to lay her husband to rest. She never left her side and even helped her cook and cared for her kids until the burial was over. The kids returned to school, and Mama Onome was left with her last-born. Ejiro and Onome came home for their internship. They wanted to come be with their mum. That same night again, 2 black eggs were smashed on the wall. Then 2 days later, her twin died. It was a thing of shock. Mama Onome cried until her eyes became blurry. Everyone in the compound wondered why such calamity had chosen to happen to this beautiful woman and her family. They even went to church and nothing could be seen. She soon stopped going to church because she was asked to spend money on a lot of assignments. After just 6 months of burying her twin, the same black egg was smashed on the walls. This time the neighbors knew something was wrong and asked her to pray. All the neighbors came together and even prayed. Miss Bisi led in the prayer that some neighbors fell into anointing, and after the prayers, people asked her why she had not opened her own church, while others pleaded with her to never leave the side of Mama Onome. Just the next day, Mama Onome received a call from the boarding school that her daughter had fallen down on the field and died. That she had no contact with anyone as she had just stood right by herself and died. All the pain went in circles again. She became ill and was speechless most of the time, and barely eats, but yet Miss Bisi never left her. She told her that everything will be all right. She then came one day to tell Mama Onome that she had to get up and make sure her last child did not die. Mama Onome asked her what more she could do. That God gave her and had taken everything. Miss Bisi told her that she must get up and attend to the issue. She asked her who she might suspect that might be doing this to her. Mrs. Onome said, "It will be a woman whose husband had arrested her son for murdering their maid." And the woman laid a curse, that since her husband had made her lonely, that his family will be lonely. That made Miss Bisi to hasten her to do something for real. Like she was really supportive. Miss Bisi told her she had a place in mind. The man will help her do back to sender. She slammed that it was time the person doing this to her pays. So Miss Bisi took Mama Onome to an herbalist, who gave her the same black egg to go and break first, before the person came to break theirs. Because he knew the kind of jazz the person causing her pain was doing. So that night, Mama Onome sneaked out and went to break the egg. Her neighbors seemed to have been on a lookout on behalf of her, to know who exactly comes to burst the egg, so when they saw her, they were shocked. She didn't see where they hid until they had seen her break the egg at the exact same spot. They then came out and just looked at her, but before she could explain that Miss Bisi had taken her somewhere to get the egg, they just said, "God forbid," and hurried out. As she went inside, she saw her last-born convulsing. She started crying and screaming. When it was morning, the neighbors had already alarmed the environment of how the woman had killed her husband and kids and still pretended to mourn them. The boys on the street went into her house and dragged her out as she begged and begged. Everything she was trying to say dropped into deaf ears. She kept saying that she had been misled by Miss Bisi. She tried telling them that she had been releasing secrets of her children's birthday and time they were born to Miss Bisi, and every secret about her husband during the period of their fake friendship. But blood already started slashing when they hit her with a plank on her head. Her words were mixing up with the blood from her head. When people gathered her, she saw Miss Bisi in the crowd, pulled her tongues out and dragged her 2 eyes with her fingers and told her, "Ta," meaning, "This serves you right." A neighbor who seemed to have seen her was shocked and alarmed everyone immediately. Miss Bisi ran away from the scene, pretending to be running around for help. Mama Onome was not put up in flames because some people intervened. Mama Onome just pointed her hands to Miss Bisi location and screamed, "So it was you all along. It was you." That was when everybody turned to look at the walking away Miss Bisi, before anybody could grab what had just happened. Miss Bisi was already on the bike and had left. The neighbors went in search of Miss Bisi, but they were told she had eloped. They rushed to Mama Onome, trying to help her. She called someone to come closer to her mouth. She just said, "She never forgave me for calling her a witch and killing her husband and kids. She took me to that man that gave me the black egg to kill my own child." Then when they tried lifting her, she coughed out blood and died. You really have to be careful what you say to people when you are angry. Some people may smile with you, forgive you with their mouth, and still carry vengeance in their hearts. Not everyone truly lets things go. Miss Bisi never forgave Mama Onome for accusing her of being a witch and killing her family. She waited patiently, pretended to be a friend, gained her trust, and destroyed everything she loved. Support this channel so we can continue bringing these stories to life with full video animations. We have many more powerful and emotional stories like this, and even better ones coming. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow our journey and watch us grow into a bigger and better storytelling channel.